Greetings petrolheads, welcome back to Automation the Car Company Tycoon game, and today I have a pretty special video for you. You may remember the Doubutsu Cheetah in the BGTC, and I criticized it quite a bit in different areas. And as a response to that video, its creator asked me to make a video of what he could have done better, and that's what we're doing today. So, there it is. Right. I'm gonna clone this, and then I'm gonna create a new variant for the engine as well by cloning this. Alright. Because I think that the biggest improvements to be made on this car are on the engine. Right. Okay. So I'm not going to change anything here, but here on the turbo section, that's where I'm going to get started. The compressor is way too large as it stands. Reduce this to about 50 seems good. And then you can already see that we have a much better torque curve. And then what I'm gonna do is, I mean, I could do a couple of things here from this point. If I wanted to make more power and torque, I could increase the boost. We have a decent torque band between like 2500 and 4000 RPM, so I could use more boost in order to take advantage of that. Or another thing that I could do, and which is what I'm gonna actually end up doing, is making the engine run leaner, because this car used way too much fuel for what it was. Also, we were allowed 95 octane fuel, so I'm gonna choose that, and then okay, we lost 7 horsepower, we gained just a little bit in torque as it stands right now, but of course I will tweak this some more. I'm gonna decrease the turbine size slightly, which is gonna make the turbo kick in a little bit sooner. And you see we're not losing power by doing this, because at a certain point a bigger turbine doesn't help anymore. Okay, that's when we start losing power. Below 39, okay. And from here I could either lower the ignition timing and lower the fuel mixture some more, or I could be like, okay, let's try and get up. Actually, this doesn't add any more power. So 110 is the sweet spot apparently. I could sharpen the cam profile a little bit. There we go, 240 horsepower. We can definitely rev this engine a little bit higher. 5800 or so. It's when you start getting a little bit of valve float, but that's okay. Also at 6000 the conrods are starting to go. I mean, if I stick with a stock internals, then 5900 is pretty much as high as I'm gonna go without adding any quality. Let's see, 1.09 puts us at 240 horsepower, 285 pound-feet of torque. Let's see how the stats change just by doing that as like a... Now drivability is worse, but that's gonna improve in a second, because of course the engine wasn't the only thing that was improvable on this car. You can already see that our 0 to 100 time is quite a bit better already. This car definitely needs a diff, so I'm gonna put a viscous limited slip diff on here. I'm gonna make the rear tires just as wide as the front. Oh, okay, so apparently that requires me to flare the arches, which I'm gonna do. Like so. And I'm gonna put some alloy rims on there just because, you know, magnesium rims in the 80s. Brake balance, 3 pistons up front maybe. Yeah, that helped. And semi-clad on the trays. Okay, we don't need all this downforce. We really don't need it. And then we will decrease the rear downforce. Maybe leave it at like 20 and then the front downforce 20 as well, or even get rid of it all the way. And we need less cooling airflow. Luxury interior, all that is good. And now what we do is we get rid of this front camber a little bit. And then do that. I don't know why the dampers are so stiff in the front, but we will stiffen the front springs and the rear springs as well, and then stiffen the rear sway bars. Then the front dampers are gonna go a little bit lower, what's like 6 maybe. Okay. Top speed is gonna be higher. It can now do 0 to 100 in 5.6 seconds, but the drivability is still pretty bad. I would like to take care of that. Probably it just makes too much torque, too much boost. Because the turbo does kick in pretty early now, and with a big torque boost like that, like look at that, between like 1500 RPM where it's at like 160 and 2000 RPM where it's at like 240 pound-feet, that's a 50% increase in torque over just 500 RPMs. That's a lot, and then it keeps going from there until it flattens out. So that's probably just too much boost. I'm gonna decrease the boost a little bit to like 0.7, and then I'm also gonna make it run a little bit less rich. Okay, so the turbine size doesn't do anything. All right, 230 horsepower. I also don't like the ignition timing being that high, but I think, I mean generally speaking at least, but I think this torque curve and power curve is pretty good for now. Yeah, running costs, we lowered running costs by about 700 already. So that's one thing. We also increased performance, and we made the car a little bit lighter, I think. And drivability is still pretty bad. I'd like to fix that. Let's see, what tires is this running on? Sports tires. It's pretty much as good as it's gonna go. Wheel spin is not what is decreasing our drivability. If you go with vented discs all around, that's better, yeah. And then, oh, that's good. make the rear pads a little bit more comfortable, like that. I think I'm gonna stick with the 240mm size here. I don't think we need the rear downforce, although it was, you know, helping a little bit. I don't think we need to brake airflow now either. And now we can decrease the cooling airflow altogether. We are still only at like 40 drivability. I'd like to get that a little bit better. Does this thing have some negative quality anywhere? Not in suspension, maybe in the in this tab, no? Okay. Let's see if I can fix the drivability and make it a little bit better. Does shortening the gears help? Yeah, a little bit. Let's leave it at 50. Geared limited slip diff maybe? That helps a little bit. It's running progressive springs already. And I don't want to just throw expensive parts at this thing. Because, you know, its principal benefit was that it was cheap. Now it's still at 26,250, but it is with the viscous diff, that is, with the geared limited slip diff, it would be more expensive. But I would still like to improve this a little bit. I think I'm gonna go with the I-beam steel Conrads and then rev it a little bit higher. Then I'm gonna go with a lower ignition timing, like 60. And yeah, the torque curve looks a little bit ugly now, but we're gonna fix that. And this doesn't help. It doesn't help either. Bigger compression. $238 horsepower, okay. Let's see if this helped. 40.1 drivability now. And can we do anything else? Yeah, we need a little bit more cooling now. Bigger tire profile maybe? Or go down to 16-inch rims? That helps drivability a little bit. We got enough sportiness. And fully clad on a tray? It doesn't do much, but it helps a little bit. Let's decrease this front camber some more. Yeah, 41.7 is much better. And I'm also gonna lower it a little bit more. Okay. That didn't really help drivability, but I think overall this gained, like, I mean, we're gonna or let's just say tuned, so that you know that this is the tuned trim, and we're gonna compare stats now after roughly 14-15 minutes of tweaking. So the original one, the LE, 35.8 drivability, 36. I mean, you can see all the stats here. What you can't see is the quarter-mile time though, so let's look at that. $14.72 and running costs $37.88. And now let's go to the tuned version. You can see the stats here. We got quite a bit more drivability, we got more comfort out of it. With safety we got much better economy, as shown in the running cost as well, like $680 or so less than before. And 26,100, I think that's pretty much the same as before. But let's check out the quarter mile as well. There's a 14.23, that's half a second faster on the quarter mile. And how much did the original trim cost? This is 26.1. $26.1, so exactly the same. So for that you would get like 6 more drivability. Yeah, I just loaded the same trim again. I'm an idiot. Yeah, like 6 more drivability, 2 more comfort, and much better running costs, better performance, and costing just exactly the same. So by making this car more expensive, throwing more quality and more expensive parts at this thing, I could make it better still, of course, but while keeping the price the same, I think I did a reasonable job at improving this car. And I hope you enjoyed this little video, and well, see you again next time.